Welcome to PepTalk, when Pep talks and your heart is encouraged. Something really unexpected has been happening with this painting. My birds are usually not impressed with new things that have come into the room. They usually freak out and fly into the other room. But not so with this painting. They weren't afraid of it at all. In fact, they were fascinated by it. And they've continued investigating it for months. I don't know exactly what they see, but watching them has made me think about what is important for all of us. What are we putting before our eyes and our ears? Hi, I'm Stephanie, and these are my pep talks. Little reflections that God has been teaching me through everyday life, art, and birds. Let's talk about it. If you watched my previous pep talk episode, you may recognize this painting. I shared the story about it there, so I'm not going to go into the details here. But just briefly, this is a painting that I created after having had a very meaningful dream. It became a vision piece for me, something that represented hope and something that I could look forward to. This is actually the original painting in my studio. I put it there when I returned to creating art because I wanted to see it every day and remember why I had come back to art in the first place. And because this painting is so meaningful to me, I wanted that reminder before my eyes continually. But then I thought, why not bring some of that color and life into the bird room too? My birds already love their colorful play areas. So I thought that a canvas print of this painting would be perfect in here. It's filled with lovebirds. It connects to my own flock. And it's kind of like a little piece of history ever since I started taking care of birds. And then something happened that I absolutely did not expect. Amazingly, they weren't afraid of it at all. They were immediately curious and drawn to it. And their fascination was what made me start really thinking about it. Not for a few minutes either, and not for a few days, but I'm talking months have gone by, and they are still investigating it. Sheva, in particular, is constantly trying to figure out how to get to different parts of it. She'll climb around the lamp, reach underneath it, investigate the painted grasses. And Henry has his own response. Apparently, the painting deserves a conversation. And Georgie seems to think that if Sheva is interested, there must be something worth investigating. Now, I don't actually know what they see, and I don't pretend to know. It could be something as simple as colors and textures. And in Sheva's case, she's my only female lovebird. So for all I know, she's probably thinking, can I pull off some of these grasses and stuff them into my backpack and use them for the next nest project? I honestly would not put it past her. But watching them has made me think of something much bigger. So I intentionally put this painting in my studio to put it in front of my eyes. And now it's here in the bird room in front of their eyes too. And that got me thinking about how much the things that we continually put in front of us can influence us. What we look at, what we listen to, the conversations we repeatedly have, the voices we allow into our lives, the things we watch, the things we scroll through. The stories and ideas that we allow to become familiar to us. We may not notice the effect of any one thing, but when something becomes a part of our environment, something that we see or hear again and again, it can begin to influence what occupies our minds. Not in a fearful way, and not in a way that makes us afraid of everything around us, but in a way that's intentional. I also think it's really important that we have little places in our lives where we can stop and ponder. And by pondering, I mean turning something over in our minds, thinking about what is good and true and meaningful. Sometimes it's artwork, sometimes it's scripture, sometimes it's a photograph, a meaningful object, or simply a special place in your home. Something that causes you to stop for a moment and remember what really matters. Not only something that's beautiful hanging on your wall, but something that reminds you to hope, encourages you, gives you a place to pause and think about some things that are deeper. And I think that those little reminders can be really valuable in our everyday life. And for me, this painting is one of those reminders. It's actually a really pivotal piece in my creative journey. And it's actually the piece that brought me back to creating art again. So when I see it in my studio, I don't just see a painting. And when I see it in the bird room, I don't just see a print of my painting. I'm actually reminded about how birds were such a big part of bringing me back to creating art. They agree. They totally agree. Yes, you were a very big part of me coming back to art. And I wanted to share that joy with the birds in their space too. This painting is particularly meaningful for me because the dream behind it gave me a picture of hope and eternity. And the birds represented in it are very personal to me. They are the lovebirds that I had to say goodbye to, and some of those that I'm currently caring for. So when I look at this painting, I don't just see the birds and the scenes that I saw in my vivid dream. I see a reminder. I see something that points me beyond a hope of what I can see right now. It literally fuels my purpose. And that's why I wanted it in my studio and in my bird room as well. So it's become a part of the environment that surrounds me every day. And then there's this. I actually considered making them a little custom DIY perch here, so they could investigate the painting more easily. Because as you can see, I've had to protect the top. I knew they would try to land on it, and they have. But then I thought, do I really need another cleaning project in this bird room? Probably not. But I love watching their curiosity. And even though I don't really know what they're seeing, their fascination has made me look at the painting again, almost with new eyes. And it has made me think about what I want to surround myself with. Okay, baby, you're okay. So I think that's the question that I want to leave you with today. Not, are you looking at the right thing? And certainly not, are you doing everything perfectly? But what are you continually putting before your eyes and ears? What are you allowing to become familiar? What are you repeatedly giving your attention to? Are there things that are making it harder for you to think clearly? And on the other side of that, Are there things that you could intentionally put into your environment that could remind you of hope? Things that remind you of God's promises. Things that remind you of His goodness. Things that cause you to stop and ponder the beautiful things in life and the things that are true. Because I think those things matter. I started this story by telling you that I put this painting in the bird room simply to beautify the place. And that's still true. But I didn't expect the birds to point me to this type of insight. And that's one of the things that I love about living with birds. Oh, now you're getting used to all of this equipment. Is that okay now? Yeah, okay, baby. Yeah. Hey, baby. Okay. Sometimes you think you're just simply going to make their environment more beautiful. And in the end, they end up making you stop and think about your own. I still don't know what they see, but I know what I see. And I'm grateful for the reminder. Thank you for joining me for another Pep Talk episode. And if you'd like to hear the story that gave rise to this painting in the first place, I'll link it in the description. Until next time, I hope you find places in your life where you're able to pause and slow down and ponder what is true and encouraging, and keep your eyes on hope. Hey, Wolfie. Come here, baby. Oh, I love you too.